and Space Conference and Expo that will focus on the intersection of strategy and industrialization for space applications in national security. With the support of our knowledge partner, St. Joe's, CAPS, CLAWS and NMF, we warmly welcome you all to DefSAT 2023, which is going to happen starting from today, that is 27th of April, going on till the 29th of April, here at the Manekshaw Center in New Delhi. This afternoon, it gives me great pleasure to welcome the honorable dignitaries onto the dais. And first, I take the pleasure of requesting Shri Anil Prakash, Director General SIA-India, to kindly join us and give his opening remarks. Please put your hands together and give a warm welcome.
Sorry about I deleted this from the script my name, anyhow, welcome you all to DefSAT International first conference and exposition, and we had a remarkable start this morning with a closed door interaction with industry and defense forces, and a lot of learnings have been taken from this morning session. Not taking much of time ado, and thank you very much once again, all of you. You have taken the time, and thank you for your patience. The room is just getting ready and you very patiently waited for that. I'm really thankful to all of you.
Thank you, sir, for those opening remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon we have the pleasure of having in our midst Dr. Subba Pavuluri, President, SIA-India. May I now request him to kindly deliver the welcome address. Please put your hands together and give a warm welcome.
Good afternoon, namaskar. I know the difficulty soon after lunch, the kind of the meetings that any meeting to be conducted. However, I think it's my responsibility now to wake you up fully and make you participate in this. I welcome you all and the distinguished participants. And we are trying to create a scenario whereby, in the sense that the space policy has been announced, and the defense requirements have been known. Now, how do you bring the space close to defense in terms of deliverables into many ways on that? In the morning, we had a good session, and the session, the few things have been posed to the industry as what are the requirements they are looking for, and what industry can support, and how to go about that. In fact, a lot of scenarios have been worked out, and we found close synergy between the industry and the defense also to work together. A lot of opportunity coming up in that. So we're glad that, besides the civilian sector looking for the opportunity in this area, the also defense sector also opened up completely for the space, and this is a great day for the industry in this country. And again, I welcome you all in that. And I don't want to elaborate more about the conference. Again, already some papers have been supplied to all of you, and I'm sure that you will enjoy the next 3 days and discussing with people, with various experts in this area. And I'm sure that this is going to be a very fruitful association between all of us. Welcome, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for these welcome remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon, seated with us on the dais is Dr. P.K. Jain, Director PMAD in Space. May I now request the honored dignitary to kindly articulate his thoughts. Please put your hands together and give a warm welcome.
Good afternoon to all of you. Dr. Subba, Dr. Shailesh, Nayak on the dais, and the officers of the defense forces, industry partners, and invitees, ladies and gentlemen. As a member of the space community for last 35 years, I'm very happy to note that such type of discussions on space for defense and then defending the space is happening in the wider forum involving all the stakeholders. And this is very good beginning. Of course, we had seen that last A couple of weeks back also there was one symposium on on similar topic. Last year we had a defense expo, and that is a good welcome sign that the discussions now are happening, and it is logically also because this space is always considered as a fourth frontier, and it has its own importance and for the security and strategic considerations. And without a space, of course, now no war can be fought. So I will not go to those importance of the space and all, but at the same time, as far as space technology is concerned, it remains more or less same, whether it is to be used for the civil or for the commercial or for the defense applications. Maybe the customized solutions have to be worked out using those technology. So having said that, today I would like to touch upon briefly some points on how to take this space for defense and defending the space to the next level, what today we have, what is the way forward. And I would like to focus on 6 major points as a way forward or approach. Morning I was having I was part of the discussions and all, and more or less these points which I am going to talk about, probably somewhere else it was touched during the discussion. The first point is which I feel is important, is the whole of the nation approach is one. The second thing is with respect to the institutional support, policy and the regulations. The third important point is the state of the art technology. The fourth would be the development of the ecosystem and infrastructure. And the fifth would be the international outreach and the diplomacy. And the sixth, last, I don't say last but not the least, is the space spectrum, which so far we have not touched in our discussions. So coming back to the first point, the whole of the nation's approach. I think now all of us agree that it is very, very essential to involve all the stakeholders, be it private industry, I start with private industry, space industry, the government, and of course in the government we have the space agency, ISRO, in space, and of course the defense, which is the fulcrum. And without that, it would be very difficult to achieve what we want to see now, the next few years, the India's capability in space for the defense. If we see that as far as the government is concerned or the institutional support is concerned, government is very keen and intentions are also very clear when it brought out the space sector reforms a couple of years back. And during that time also we saw that the formation of the integrated space cell within the headquarter of the IDS. We also saw the DSA and the DRSO, and then we saw the creation of ANSIL in space. And this is what we are seeing the government efforts. Government has opened up the space sector to the industry, and that is all what resulted in the whole of activity today, which what we are seeing in the last 1.5 to 2 years, where the number of startups in the space have gone up to about 120, and the sort of global funding which has come more than 120 million in the last year itself. So the activities have started, and as far as government thing is concerned, it's very clear. On the policy front, government has also brought out the policy, Indian space policy, couple of years back, a couple of weeks ago was announced, and we are also, government is also working on the FDI policy for the space sector, basically to relax the FDI norms and to attract the global funding and investment. And the government is also intent to now bring up the Space Act or Space Bill. So the policy front, of course, some more things, as I told, that the Space Act has to come. Maybe some of today morning we were having the discussion, the separate strategy for the defense probably is one of the policy which we are looking at, or if it is under the work in progress. The procurement policy is another thing which it came out today, that some of the we probably may have to relax the procurement norms under the defense. When we come to the third point, the third point is now the technology. Technology is again very important. We have the technology, a lot of space, because thanks to ISRO, we are in the one among 6 spacefaring nation. We have all the technology, but whether that is adequate. Space is such a field, the technology gets obsolete also very fast. The new requirement emerges, and it's also important now that it is not only ISRO develops or government agency develop the technology. The private industry also should be now part of the efforts to develop the new technologies and bring out the technologies even from the outside if it has to be brought in. So on the technology front, I am not naming the technology. It could be the customized solutions for the defense in terms of the detection or the defense or the offense. It could be the different types of sensors, hyperspectral sensor, optical sensor, microwave sensors. It could be jamming, spoofing, navigation, or the anti-satellite weapon. It could be different, but basically it is very important that now we keep up the pace with the global trend and technology. And when it comes to the development of the ecosystem and the infrastructure, we have the infrastructure in place, a good infrastructure developed by ISRO, whether it be a space infrastructure or at the ground. We have, as far as the upstream is concerned or midstream is concerned, more or less we are doing much better. However, the downstream is where that the lot of opportunity exists, and then we have to develop the customized solutions for the defense. And once we are able to develop an ecosystem wherein the industry plays a major role, the government department plays a major role, and involving the academia, which is most important again, the entire the ecosystem should be so vibrant, where the students take the more interest in the joining the space technology courses. Industry gets the opportunity and the markets, commercial opportunities within India, outside India. The government generates the sufficient adequate demand. I think once the entire ecosystem is in place, that would help the defense, not only the entire space sector or space industry itself by itself, but even for the defense, this would be very important, and this we saw in the today's discussion also. So that is a very important aspect. The fifth aspect is now what I was talking about, the international outreach and the diplomacy. Again, of course, we have after this one more session on that, and probably more discussion would happen on that. But that is very important for the not only for the security and a strategic point of view, but also it provides us the access to the technology, access to the market, access to the talent. So the diplomacy and the international outreach is an important factor. The last but not the least is the availability of the spectrum, orbital spectrum resources. We are talking about the satellites in terms of 100 satellites, 200 satellites, but the spectrum becomes a very important precious resource. which comes from the efforts of the international international coordination, as well as the national policy. So we need to make the adequate spectrum resources available to the industry, to the government, and to the defense. Specifically, when the need arises, we should be able to put in place the space segment. So I will take a couple of minutes. I know that we are running short of time. Couple of minutes to dwell upon that how the in-space fits into all these 6 factors, whatever I have discussed, 6 aspects. And in-space being an autonomous entity created within Department of Space has the 4 major roles. It acts as a promoter, it acts as an enabler, it acts as an authorizer and the supervisor. Now let us come to the all the 6 point. First point, where we say the whole of the nation approach. Now, in-space has the mandate to act as a single window interface for the non-government entities, and that is very, very important, where the in-space now can play a vital role to bring together the industry as well as all the government departments, wherever the relevant departments, including maybe DOT, MIB, MHA, the DPIIT and all, to basically provide the ease of doing business to the industry. When it comes to the policy, institutional support, in-space played a very important role in providing inputs to the Indian space policy, to the revision of the FDI policy, which is around the corner, and as well as we will have be having providing inputs and discussions on the Space Act and the Space Bill. When we talk about the Indian space policy, the Indian space policy, if we go through, it has very clear defined roles, objectives and vision for bringing up the space sector, and what all the things which can be done by the non-government entities, what would be the role of in-space, what would be the role of ANSIL, what would be the role of ISRO, and what would be the role of Department of Space. So the overall objective of the Indian space policy is to now bring up the space sector. The role of in space as a promoter, as even in the Indian space policy, is to promote the non-government entities, industry, and the entire space activities in the country, to enable the industry to participate in the space activity in terms of providing the making the access to the ISRO facility, making the access to the ISRO expertise, making the access to the ISRO's technology, and also to create our own infrastructure which could be exclusively used by the non-government entities. Apart from that, the in-space also has been given mandate to run our various promotion scheme time to time, and some of the schemes which we have also started in terms of the seed funding or the providing some pricing support to the startups or the micro and small industry. When it comes to the international outreach and the diplomacy, again the Indian space policy is very clear, and that mandates that the Department of Space has to coordinate with MEA to have the international efforts, or various efforts, not right from the sustainable development goals and the providing the data for the disaster management to even the participate in the global space governance and the space programs. And the last point is the spectrum orbit resources. Again, the policy enables in space to coordinate with Department of Telecommunication and together ensure that the adequate orbit spectrum resources are available for the country, for the non-government industry, and to judiciously balance out the access of the spectrum to the between the government and the non-government entities. So certainly in space will play an important role in the to fit into the whole of the nation's approach, and we will be looking forward to working with the industry as well as the various government departments in this efforts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Jain, for this informative address and your gracious presence here today this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, to maintain an edge for India in this rapidly evolving domain, it is crucial to integrate cutting-edge technology from civil, commercial, and military space domains in the application, operationalization, and protection of military space capabilities. And these are the issues that DefSAT is all set to address here today. We have in our midst this afternoon Dr. Shailesh Nayak, Director NIAS and former Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences. We now request Dr. Nayak to kindly address the August gathering. Please put your hands together and give a warm welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Subba, Dr. Jain, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is a very historic moment. The location itself of this discussion is in Kentucky. And that shows the willingness of the armed forces to interact with the industries. I think I have never seen this kind of a trust between each other at the beginning itself when we started. So this is, I think, is an extremely good thing which is happening. Second thing I think is very critical is that industry can survive if there is a demand. And because they will have engaged people, the facilities has to be engaged continuously. And we have seen that in the Ukraine war, the space is playing a very major role either for Earth observation, for communication, for intelligence, or for navigation. So there is no doubt that this space is going to play a major role in all conflicts in the future. So that means there is a definite demand. There are two kinds of demand. Most of the people we think is satellite launch vehicles, which is glamorous. But there are a lot of applications actually to be done, and actual money is in those areas. And there is a less risk in those areas compared to launches is the maximum risk, the satellite is the second. But they are also important. Without that, you can't do the applications. And I think it is necessary now to generate that demand in each of this field. I won't give you but I like to give one example just to how we can generate demand and put forward to the industry. Let's say navigation satellite is very, very critical for the defense forces. Currently we have 7 satellites. Some of them are about to be retired. And with this 7, we have a capacity of 1,500 kilometers. Whatever little knowledge I have, I think it is inadequate. Minimum you need is 3,000 kilometers so that Indo-Pacific is covered. And for that you need minimum 11 satellites at different orbits. I won't go into details, but let's say 11 satellites. Now these satellites work for say 7 years or so, and they will launch at different times. So every year you may need 2, 3. And ultimately, you will need a global coverage, which needs 24 satellites. Somebody can say, why don't you collaborate with GPS, US, and you can have. But as my understanding goes, GPS is highly vulnerable to cyber attacks. And I'm sure that even US would want an alternative system in case of, because currently US-India is collaborating very well. So now this demand, if we can put it properly to the industry, they will come up, and there has to be another thing, the standardization of subsystems, subcomponents, so that they can start production in this, and there is a chain which is maintained. Same thing we can do for the application. I think this kind of an exercise is very much required for industry to gain confidence and to invest in the facilities. So this is what I would like to say. There are many other points, and I'm sure that to 3 days this will be discussed, and I'm sure the end of the day we would have some kind of a blueprint that how industry and defense forces are going to collaborate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We are very fortunate to have received your guidance in these words. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here in our midst, sir. May I now request...
Incidentally, he was also the Secretary MoES. That you didn't mention.
I had the pleasure of working with sir for an event on the Earth Sciences Ministry, yes. So I was very fortunate to receive his guidance in person. May I request Dr. Pavuluri, President SIA-India, to kindly present memento to our esteemed guests, the honorable dignitaries seated with us on the dais, as a token of our appreciation and thanks. We take the pleasure of thanking Dr. Shailesh Nayak, Director NIAS and former Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences. May I request President SIA-India to kindly do us the honors. Our heartfelt thanks to Dr. P.K. Jain, Director PMAD in Space. Thank you, sir, for your presence here today. We once again take this opportunity of thanking the honorable dignitaries seated with us on the dais. Ladies and gentlemen, invitees, that brings us to the end of the inaugural session this afternoon. May I request you all, sir, to please join us back in the audience.